cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon. And in today's video I'm going to be talking about Diatomaceous earth and how you can use it to prevent and treat pests on your cactus. First of all, I want to give a very lovely shout out to my wonderful friend Bill Go Lightly here on YouTube. And Bill has been an incredible supporter of my channel and a very wonderful, generous friend as well. So Bill was asking some questions about Diatomaceous earth, and I said, well, the next time I do it on my plants, I'm going to show you how I do it and talk a little bit about Diatomaceous earth and show you how much I actually use on the cacti to prevent pests. So thank you, Bill, and for this video request. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what is Diatomaceous earth. Now, Diatomaceous earth is a very fine white powder, and it's made from the fossilised remains of diatoms over millions of years. And diatoms, by the way, guys, are a type of hard-shelled microalgae. And the microalgae that has formed over these millions of years goes into soft white rocks, and then they crush down these rocks to make this fine powder. And it's also, Diatomaceous earth is also used for food as well, and for pets, and as well as the horticultural industry, and also for skincare too. And it's absolutely brilliant for preventing and getting rid of bugs, fleas on pests, fleas on pets such as dogs, cats, horses. Good for the skin. And the food grade is always the best quality to get, because there you see, food grade Diatomaceous earth, that is always the best quality when getting this. Now, the powder works because it's very abrasive. Now, if you was actually to touch this powder, I'll just show you here, it actually feels lovely and soft. And in fact, if you rub it into your hands, it feels a bit like talcum powder. It's a lovely soft feel. But to insects that walk along this powder, you can just see the bit of the residue there on my fingers. It actually is very sharp from the diatoms, from the shells. And it does rip walking insects to pieces. And it also has a drying effect as well. As I say, it's a little bit like talcum powder with the feel, and this dries out the insects. So when you dust this onto cacti and even any other plants, house plants as well, then the drying effect can dry out the body of the pest, and as well as ripping it apart. So it's a very good, it's a good prevention and also a treatment as well. And I'm going to show you how I apply it to my cacti should you get some of this Diatomaceous earth. I've been using this now for about 3 years, and I have to say I've noticed a massive difference in pests in general on my cacti. I use quite a few different methods, including the rubbing alcohol, the Diatomaceous earth, neem oil as well, and between them all I find that they all seem to do the best at keeping pests at bay as much as possible. There's no magic cure to get rid of mealybugs and other type of insects. They're always going to keep coming back. So it's a case of doing what you can to prevent as many as you can. Now, the Diatomaceous are very easy to get from Amazon. This one here is Holistic Valley food grade, and this one I'm very happy with. As I say, I've actually had this 3 years, and just look how much is left. It's lasting ages, because you only need to use a very small amount. Less is best with this, which I'm going to show you in the video. So if you want to get some of this, I'll put the link down below to this one that I've got. And I just want to mention, it's a link to my Amazon associate link. So if you purchase through that link, I get a wee bit of percentage. So it does help me a wee bit. But don't feel pressured. You get it from wherever you want to get to. Amazon, eBay, all sell this. But food grade is always best, because even though you're not going to be eating it, it's the top quality. So highly recommended. Can be a little bit pricey, but it's extremely economical. As I mentioned, there's still I mean, it would probably take the rest of my life to get through all this, so it's brilliant. And then all you need to do, I'm going to show you now an example of some of my cacti, is get a little scoop here. You really only need to use such a tiny amount. And this is actually a little sieve. I actually sieve it through as well, because although it is a fine powder, sieving it often helps even better when you're sprinkling it onto your cacti. Really tiny bit there, and then it will get rid of any of them. It's very easy just to crumble down anyway. So that is really probably going to be enough. I'm just going to show you an example on one of the trays of my cacti on all the different types, just how much you need to apply. And it's ideal to use a big puffer brush, such as one of these little a clean makeup brush. Big puffer is ideal because you want to just puff this on. So now let's go, and I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to show you an example here with just the first tray, because I'm going to be going over and doing all of the plants in here. I'm just going to show you this, otherwise it'd be a very long video. And I use Diatomaceous. I come in and sprinkle it on about once a month. And there's many different ways of using it. Some people prefer to use it a bit damp. Some people prefer to use it dry. Personally, myself, you're much better off using it dry to dust on. And that's because it's not as effective once it gets wet. During the summer months, I'll come in here and dab on Diatomaceous literally every few days to keep pests at bay. During the winter, there's no need, because the plants are kept totally dry in here now until next spring. So I would just come and dust them and probably repeat it next month. The reason why you have to repeat is because the dust doesn't last forever. It does eventually go. And this is particularly important if it's during the summer months when you're watering your plants regularly, especially if you use overhead watering. The Diatomaceous has to be dry to be effective, so you do have to keep reapplying it roughly every few weeks if it's the winter time, and certainly every time you water your plants as well. So it's to say it's not a cure-all for pests, but it's a good prevention, and I have been very happy with it. It's also very effective as well if you're using the soil mix as well. It's good for preventing and getting rid of root mealybugs. Now, if you already have root mealybugs, I would suggest getting rid of them first before just adding the powder, but it's a good prevention. And you can just literally add a small scoop, such as this amount here, into a container of soil, like a small container of soil, and that will also help to rip any root mealybugs that are lingering on the roots. So good to add to the soil. It's harmless to the plants, completely harmless. It's even beneficial for the soil, and it's beneficial if it gets on the plants. Now, the reason why I want to show you how much I actually apply is because this is important. Because when I first got the Diatomaceous, there's not a lot of information on there on how to use it, and I just went and puffed a lot on, so it was literally covered in white, and I thought, oh, it's blocking out the light. But less is definitely more with Diatomaceous, because the finer you can put the powder on, the more chance it has of shredding walking insects. It's particularly beneficial, to say, for mealybugs as well. Can't say with spider mites, because I still think spider mites are that little bit more tough to get rid of, and sometimes it's better to use rubbing alcohol and neem oil and things like that to get rid of them. So as I mentioned, a nice clean big brush there, and all you have to do is very carefully dab it on or brush it on, and then you want to shake it as well. So you want to shake, and I'm going to start off with this one over here. You literally just puff as if you just do a little powder puff like that on there, and then on here, and then I'm going to puff it off, and that is all you have to do here. And then you want to puff, 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 puff. You don't want to necessarily leave it covered as if it's snowing. And the reason why I like this big powder puff is because you can brush off as well, and that is really all you need to do there. Now, any plants where it's a little bit too much at the top there, what you can do is just give them a bit of a, just blow a little bit, and that will get rid of any that's sort of harbouring too much in the creases of the cactus. As I say, you just want to make sure that you have a really fine dust in there on the plants, so it's not going to be blocking out too much of the light. A bit more on here, and it's also good to do the tables with as well. I even brush all the tables, and if this was the summer, I'd probably be a bit more conscious of what it really looks like on here, but it's during the winter time. You just want to give them a light dusting, and it will prevent any of those beasties crawling on. I just want to mention as well, when you are using Diatomaceous earth, it is also, you need to be careful that you're not breathing it in too much. It's meant to be pretty harmless, but if you have asthma or anything like that, you do need to be careful. So I'm just going to be going around them all now. Again, just a little bit of a dab in there. That's on there, and then just blow it off. You just want to have a little tiny bit on there. And then when you've done it all, as I mentioned, you can make sure then that there's not too much powder in any other creases. So literally just give them a blow off any excess powder. As I say, you only need a very fine bit to do its job, and you don't want them all covered, looking like they're covered in snow. So any sort of where it's congregated there, a little bit with the powder, you just give them a bit of a blow the excess off. And then I also just sprinkle a little bit around the tables here. Just a little bit with a brush, because that also helps prevent any beasties. And that's pretty much it. That's that table done. And then I'm going to start then on this table. But rather than show you the whole video, I hope you give me an idea just how much Diatomaceous I actually use. And as I mentioned, any excess that sort of harbours in there, just brush off with the brush like that, or give it a little blow off there. So happy days. So I hope you found that useful, guys, and thank you so much for watching. And for lots more tips and tricks on how you can care for and grow many different types of cacti and succulents, then do please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. And also check out my website for lots of growing tips on there, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic cactus powered day.